Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back finally for Season 4 of the ISR AIC Championship. We're at Adelaide Street Circuit, 14 turns of pure street circuit madness here in Australia for round 1. Massive overhauls this season, and we're ready to get going all over again for a brand new chapter in the AIC season. DRS for round number 1 is of course off, no DRS support here at Adelaide Street Circuit. I'm joined by Season 2 champion once again, Josh Martin, for today's race. The race strategy looking like a one-stop, Josh, but it's a brand new season with many doors open.
Yes, Toby, it is. We're expecting a whole new series of events to unfold, and the one-stop here with the Ultras, possibly onto the Hypersoft tyres, is possible today. Loads of action soon to be underway. Toby, are you looking forward to this season?
Definitely, yeah, and it's a very good round 1 to go to as well. Adelaide usually do start for Formula 1 in Australia. This time, though, we're going to the wonderful street circuit. Significantly reduced in length over the years, but still all the more challenging. We've seen some absolutely astonishing V8 supercar races here over the years. Here are your qualifying results, Josh, for round 1. If you caught them on Facebook Live, it was Kevin Jacobs who took his first ever pole position in the ISR AIC after 2 dismal seasons over the last 2 seasons. Craig Evans starts second, lining up third exactly at the same time, but set later in the session, and therefore he will start third. Callum Spencer lines up P4. Reigning champion Burn will start P5. And then it's Colin McAllister, James Underhull 7th, and then Charles McBee 8th. Chester Jackson qualifies 9th for the EQU team, ahead of returning driver Valerio Campagnari. Josh, and when it comes up, I'll allow you to take us through that second half of the grid.
So in P11 we've got Gareth Lennon from Iron Brew Racing going to line up alongside Josh Martin from V-Racer. Matt Martinson from Force Fizzy lines up in P13 with Joshua Wood just behind them. Dougie Anderson with the ART Arguri on that beautiful screen in P15, and Ross McFarlane, new teammate to Josh, starts in P16. Chris Patterson lines up in P17 for TBD Esport with Evan Imre in P18. Damien Haskins is in P90, and rounding out the grid is Danny Diaz. So quite a mix, Toby, and we're looking forward to it.
So Jonathan Carrera, yes, lining up 21st and 22. We're back to 22 drivers this time, Josh. It's been a while, but we're back up to 22 drivers. Juan Navarro and Jonathan Carrera definitely not getting clean laps in the session whatsoever. Juan Navarro, 5.5 off the pole time. Pretty miserable start for Team EQU. Obviously dropping Danny Diaz for ART bound, which he was signed for. So that'll be interesting to see how the two Mexicans swapping seats will get along. But here we are then for round 1. It's been an awful long time, and it's great to be back. And here you can see, Josh, the grids actually side by side. So Kevin Jacobs' pole position going to be nullified just a tiny bit, but it is an NLR car on your left, and it's an NORL car on your right. And we're about to get racing for a brand new season of the ISR AIC on the ultra-soft tyres, every single one of them. Lights out, and away we go. Who's got the better start? I think Kevin Jacobs gets the better start. It's a good start for Burn in the background alongside Callum Spencer. Coming into turn 1 as we come, then Zach Swider already trying to mount an attack on Craig Evans. Through the first sector we come. He's still trying to mount an attack around the outside. Craig Evans defends the inside well. Can he go around the outside? No, it leaves him a little bit under pressure from Toby Burn. So far, so good for Zach Swider. Away and well. That's Josh Martin in the background trying to go around the outside of returnee Valerio Campagnari. Can Campagnari hold it around the outside? No, he can't. A little bit of the tail slide allows Josh Martin to take on the inside. Josh Martin's line might be compromised a little bit as we head through the first of the longest straight on this track, and they have a very heavy hairpin coming up to them. Will anyone be able to make a move up the inside of that hairpin? Chester Jackson pulling out on Colin McAllister down the inside for Chester Jackson. Good move for the American. He's up 2 positions already. Phenomenal start by the Team EQU boy, who's kind of flown under the radar so far this season, Josh, but that's lap 1 coming to an end.
Yeah, definitely. You can see it's the new season, but nobody's hanging back. Chester Jackson put off a beautiful move there. As we see Josh Martin also having a look now towards Gareth Lennon. And Kevin Jacobs already pulling out a bit of a gap over Craig McLeod-Evans. And Zach Swader is not hanging about either, Toby. And I think it's an old circuit, but these cars are handling pretty well for the new modern era.
It's a brand new modern era, and these guys are going to be an absolute slaughter fest of absolute curbs, quick right and left turns. This circuit is the maker of champions. This is a really good place to start these new drivers and get their bearings set automatically. So here we go, riding on board with our champion Toby Burn, coming through the back section as he got a bit of a tow coming off Zach Swader ahead. So we go through the flat out king. That's not flat out in many cars. In these it is, and it looks absolutely spectacular. Colin McAllister, meanwhile, is coming back on Chester Jackson, back down the inside the Iron Brew, eager to take that position away from Chester Jackson, gets the position back. Chester Jackson demoted to 8th. Colin says, no thank you ma'am, I'm not going to take that lying down, takes it away, and that's actually a Virtual Racers car, new team for this season, getting involved there as well. So coming through the final corner, Callum Spencer almost making a move on Burn up the final corner, didn't really get it held up the inside. That's lap 3 that begins now. Everything's looking to have calmed down a little bit so far, but everyone's still in the same shot, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know Toby Burn is obviously the previous season champion and a very well-versed racer, so I don't think he's going to be too shaken by Callum. But saying that, Callum is a very talented driver. We can see here Gareth Lennon is sliding up behind Charles McBee now. He's going to have a look. Quite twisty first sector here, so not much room for manoeuvre. But of course, if the opportunity does present itself, they can go for it. We're right on board now with Garen. You can see as they come onto the fast straight just how important it is to get a tow from these drivers. And Josh Martin just behind him as well. So if anyone makes a mistake, as we see Toby Burn under defence from Callum Spencer, Callum goes to move, but he can't make it stick. And Toby's going to get away with that for another lap. And Toby, the pressure is mounting, and we're only just starting this season.
Definitely, Zach Swader somewhere along that murder's made the move for P2. He's up into second, so he's managed to get past Craig Evans somewhere on that straight. He's up one position, Craig Evans down one position, looking through the final corner. Riding on board with Callum J. Spencer, running down the start, finish straight. Is there going to be anything doing? He's way too far back to make a move from here, but we can just see how these drivers take that almost flat out 6th gear once you get through the first section. 180 miles an hour, is that on the steering wheel? Absolutely flat out in these cars. Amazing driving so far from everybody. But Kevin Jacobs has just stormed off. He's not even in the same screenshot as these guys. Look how far ahead he is. 2.7 seconds is the gap. Great start by the NORL driver, whose his seat was under pressure a lot of last season, really showing the NORL team that it was the right decision to hang on to him, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. I think the street circuit is suiting him very well. As we can see, the Force Fizzy cars here are running in P16 and 17, so not the best start for them. And they're currently in the chase, I believe, of Ross McFarlane now, as we ride on board with Danny Diaz in that beautiful ART Aguirre. I must say, I love that. Coming into the hairpin, he has a look, but he's way too far back. And then we're coming back round to Craig Evans and James Underhill. Toby is the driver I want to talk about, new to the season and under pressure as Callum Spencer's looking up the inside of Toby, and they run down the straight now. Toby, can he make this move stick?
He's got away with it for now, it looks like, but Colin McAllister very much gained on the man. You was wanting to talk about James Underhill as well. Callum Spencer really starting to show his teeth along this lap, not getting past. Oh, Colin thought about going up the inside there, nowhere for him to go. That involved him keeping his front wing, so he stays behind for now in the Iron Brew machine, their 4th consecutive season. Had a bit of an up and down career, the Iron Brew team, but it's looking like they're starting off strong this time. This time Callum Spencer's very close to the back of Burn, so he should be able to get a good slipstream. If we flip through the camera views, he should be able to get a good slipstream through this flat out corner and mount an attack, but no, he has to let off. So he's not able to take the corner fly. Does try to go up the inside, but Burn covers it off just in time. But it looks like he wasn't confident enough to go flat out through there in the slipstream, the wake of the car in front, and just held off for now. But the teeth are starting to come out on lap 5, and we'll return to your point momentarily then for James Underhill, as he's actually under pressure from his fellow compatriot. Going up the inside, Colin McAllister, anything to do? Actually, no, Callum Spencer's making a move on Burn as well. They're all starting to get bunched up. Look at James Underhill having to dive to the pit lane to avoid Chester Jackson steaming up the inside. So where has Chester come from? Absolutely phenomenal driving.
This is incredible to see Colin McAllister's got it up the inside now. Callum Spencer, the man who was on the attack, is now on the defence, and Colin is making the move stick. They're still side by side. Right the outside, Colin's going to go. Can he make the move stick? He's got the inside once again, and Callum is not giving up. We said he was a talented driver, and he has. And now we look at the train we've got behind us here. We've got 6 cars. Colin McAllister gets to look back now from this beautiful onboard shot as we see Callum Spencer. He's going to go up to the inside, and it's looking very close. We know Callum's a bit shy. He's hit the wall. He's into the wall. Callum Spencer is into the wall. He's backed up everybody else. Everyone's trying to dive around him here. And Toby, the scenes, he's lost his rear wing. Surely he can't continue with this. And he's backing up everybody now. One of the Iron Brew cars got through. James Underhill stuck behind him. Josh Martin stuck behind him as well. And Toby, the scenes, it just shows it can all be over in the blink of an eye at a street circuit like this.
That was such a bold move to try go through the inside on that corner. Rightly, he comes into the pits. Will that be to retire, I wonder? But just tried to go up the inside and in a flat out corner that's a decreasing radius. That was never going to work, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was contact or what, but meanwhile, Josh Martin seeing the opportunity to unleash full hell on Charles McBee in front of him. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, he's got away with it for the time being as we flick through the field, try to find that train again. Meanwhile, Valerio Campagnari has just snuck down the inside of Martin, so this is a rivalry starting to form very much in the first round. Valerio sneaking it up the inside of Josh, who of course took that position away from him on the opening lap. So Valerio back up into P10, shoves Martin out of the points, but Yeah, that's a big accident, and Callum Spencer did well not to lose a wheel in that accident. Meanwhile, Valerio almost did the exact same thing as Callum Spencer, and that just shows how easy it is, and that's an opportunity for Josh Martin to maybe get 2. Can he get 2? That's very close, but no. Meanwhile, Charles McBee holds the inside line. Experience saved him on that one. A year out of it might have just cost Valerio that position, but look how easy it is, Josh, to get caught up on that curb.
Yeah, I just don't understand. It's the start of the season. We see Craig McLeod-Evans coming in for his pit stop now. The guys get to work. It was a very quick stop, 3.2 there as he comes back out of the pit lane. Toby, yeah, they're really risking it here at the first round. I mean, is this going to be setting the tone for the rest of the season? Who knows? But I just don't understand what Callum was thinking there. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that you want to share.
I'm really not sure. Hopefully we'll get some replays now. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. This is the start then. This was Burn. We said he got a good start, and he managed to pass Callum Spencer. We'll be able to see how that unfolded. So lights out, and away we go. And it looks like Callum just had nowhere to go. It looks like the WSR got a very good start, and the NLR got a bad start, which caused Spencer to be blocked in effectively. And Burn just simply drove around him as a result, so he'll take a free position up to P4. Then he almost had a go at Zach Swade, didn't he? But wasn't quite able to make anything of it because of the tight and twisty sector that is Sector 1. But he got away with it. I'm sure we'll see Callum Spencer's view. Here we go. So just watch this, Josh. You'll see that NLR car in front of us goes nowhere, but the car on our left gets a very good start also. So we're kind of just boxed in. You can see nowhere to go in front, nowhere to go on the left. And he just has to back out of it, Josh, and that costs him a position. Almost loses one to Underhill, but decides, no, not a chance I'm losing more than one position.
Yeah, definitely. I think we can see where Kevin Jacobs made his gap there. Like you say, the Northern Lights Racing guys having to battle there in P2. And Byrne he was looking for opportunities. We see Zach Swear now actually on the back, I believe, of Craig McLeod-Evans. And again, you can just see how important it is to get that slipstream. So we come down through this fast right hand there where Callum had that incident, and he looks to the inside, goes for it, late on the brakes, easy as you like, pulls it off, and a really good move. And Zach Swader, a driver who's been very much in contention over the past few seasons, Tobin, it's good to see him on board now.
So here's what happened to Callum Spencer. He's looking to the inside. At this point, you back off, surely, and he just hits the inside wall. So he just should have backed off. He didn't realise that he had... I think it was just a case of he didn't see how tight he was going to be on that corner. And when it came up in his face, this is Dougie Anderson. What's happened to ART? That's Josh Wood ahead. And what's happened here? Oh, big crash between ART and WSR. What has happened there? That's why Josh Wood and Dougie Anderson are so far back on each other. What happened here? It looks like he just ran into the back of him.
Yeah, just didn't hit the brakes at all. You can see coming into this tight hairpin for the last corner and straight into the back. Oh, that's horrendous, that. You can't be doing that kind of stuff. I know it's the first round and all. You can see one of the V-Racer boys sneaking up the inside, but Dougie Anderson must be fuming about that. Never mind the engineers. And Toby, surely stuff like that's going to get penalised early on.
Oh, I'm sure the stewards will want to have a word with both of them as we return to race. Kevin Jacobs leads then. Meanwhile, Zach Swader has lapped his teammate of Josh Wood in the background, and it looks like we have Gareth Lennon still trying to chase down Chester Jackson. By the way, what a drive from Chester and Gareth Lennon. Both up 5 positions each. Great start from these two boys. Like we said, Chester Jackson's flown under the radar in the last season that he entered, and the season before that in DTM. He kind of flew under the radar, but EQU looks like they've given him a good package, and he's up in the top 5 for them at the moment. But I'm sure the stewards will want to have a word with Dougie, because it looks like he just missed his braking point. Couldn't get it stopped down. I don't know if he had brake issues or anything, but Kevin Jacobs then our race leader into the pits, as is Zach Swader, so top 2 into the pit lane. Burn stays out for another lap, and there you go, Josh. Incident involving cars 11 and 66 under investigation for causing a collision.
Yeah, definitely, and now it's going to get really interesting. We were speaking before the race, and we were saying it is possible for them to pull off a 0 stop, but it is going to be preferable for the 1 stop. So we're going to see now who's going to be able to make the benefit. Obviously, Kevin Jacobs making that pit stop as well as Zach. And Toby Burn, a name we're familiar to seeing out front. Is he going to stretch it all the way, do you think? Or is he going to try and pull it back in? As we see now, Evan Imray is coming out the pits just ahead there of one of the Gold Leaf Team JSR boys. And Toby, we're on the 8 laps in, but it feels like so much has happened already.
It's been an absolute crazy start to the race, hasn't it? So there's Burn, and Colin McAllister is stayed out, as well as Chester Jackson and Gareth Lennon, who are starting to go a little bit more toe-to-toe. Like we say, it's possible for a 0 stop, but I'm not sure. For Adelaide as a tyre wear circuit, I think there's several sectors, including this one, that could be a little bit punishing on the front tyres, especially with that right corner now being flat out. So there you go, Burn's in. There's the answer to that question. Is Colin and the gang going to follow him in behind him? I think Colin's in. Chester Jackson and Gareth Lennon stay out, though. They will be a leading pair. I can see why Gareth would stay out, actually, because Colin came in and occupied his pit box. But Chester's staying out, and there's your penalty decision. Qualifying ban for Anderson.
Yeah, I think it was very much justified. I mean, there was no disputing there whether he just had an absolute nightmare or whatever the case may be. As you see Kevin Jacobs there flying through that first sector, the car's looking beautiful as they bounce over those curves. It's really exciting to see the cars in action for the first time this season. Chester Jackson, though, has made a huge comeback, like we said, from qualifying. So fingers crossed he can keep going up 9 positions, it looks like. And Danny Diaz also up 9 positions, sets the fastest lap of a 59.9. And Toby, the lap times are quite quick this year. And with that high speed comes a margin for error, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%, especially we saw Callum Spencer just underestimated how tight the corner was going to be, and his race is effectively over. Yeah, Danny Diaz up 11 positions. Great driving for him at the moment. And you can see, I believe, is that Jonathan Carrera? That is Jonathan Carrera. It's not Callum Spencer behind the Force Fizzy of Nut Martinson. Force Fizzy have kind of slipped a bit since their Season 1 campaign. Had a few podiums, courtesy of Evan Imre in Season 3, so we'll see if that open wheel experience gained him anything. Jonathan Carrera right up the back of Nut Martinson. Is he going to go for a move down the inside? No, Nut manages to outbrake him, but there is a Damien Haskins, new driver for Virtual Racers Club, going up the inside of Juan Navarro. It looks like Ross McFarlane's going to try follow him through. Ooh, it's going to be close, but no. Juan Navarro manages to shut the door on him, and there's Callum Spencer getting involved, so he's actually caught back up to the back of this train quite rapidly. Damien Haskins has made the move, so obviously Juan Navarro was the cock in the bottle. Callum Spencer trying to go up the inside of Ross McFarlane, considering he has had his race ruined once. That was a very aggressive move, but not much left to lose now.
Definitely, I think at this stage of the race, you've got to go for it to come through turn 1 and 2 here. Callum is not hanging out to dry. That was incredible stuff there. And yeah, at this stage of the game, you can't lose out, can you? You've already thrown it away. Toby Burn up in P4, and Colin McAllister is in P5 at the moment, as we just look through the field just now. See Josh Martin up 3 places in P9, with Charles McBee just behind him. And Toby, Ross McFarlane, a driver that is also new to this season. We know he is a very talented driver as well, similar to James Underhill. How do you expect the new guys to settle into these cars?
Well, Ross was in Season 1 and Season 2, so he's had a few seasons out of it. So it's going to take him a little while to adjust to these cars. We've seen Valeria has been caught napping a little bit after having a single season hiatus. So we can see coming into it. But I think James Underhill, for a completely new driver, someone like Underhill and Juan Navarro, them two being brand new drivers, they're adjusting quite well. Navarro's struggling a little bit, as you can see his teammates up in the top 10, and Juan Navarro's battling him on the back markers. Damien Haskins is a new driver on the grid as well, who's also struggling. So it really says a lot about James Underhill really starting off, landing on the ground running. So great effort for him. Meanwhile, is that Craig Evans closing back in on Zach Swader? We'll have to keep our eye on that one, because it looks like he's gaining time back on him after the pit stop phase. So we can see that the top 10 is covered off by Charles McBee. So Josh Martin has passed Charles McBee somewhere along the course of this. So Martin's up from about, I think, 11th to 9th. So not a bad start for the V-Racer boys, for the Season 2 champion. And he has passed Charles McBee. Charles McBee will be wanting to get at least 1 point on the board for his new home, as GTFG obviously announced that they were leaving the series after last season, and Virtual Racers Club quickly snapped their arm off to take over that team. A few benefits came with that. Obviously, they got the courtesy of Charles McBee, and they got their pit stall in the pit. So rather than entering as a whole new team, they played it tactically, picked up GTFG, and here they are. Charles McBee will be wanting to get at least a point for them on the board, shows appreciation. But Danny Diaz is closing in on him fast, and it looks like Zach Swader is actually starting to catch Kevin Jacobs a bit, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. We're starting to see after the pit stop phase that the top 3, maybe even the top 4, are actually closing in on each other. So at a street circuit like this, similar to the likes of Monaco and Baku, if you start to get tired, it can really implement or have an impact on how you're driving. So it's going to be really interesting to see here how the field develops, and we could actually see how this will reflect the total championship. Like we said, Zach Swader, a name that we're familiar to, and definitely has the ability to win this race. But so does Kevin Jacobs. He's been dominant since the very start. Craig Evans doing really well for the Northern Lights Racing boys, but he's got Toby Burn, the season champion, behind him. So much going on, so much still to happen. And Toby, I think we really need to have a look at Callum Spencer here. Is he coming again? He's not hanging about, is he?
No, I think he's lost all he had to lose. So he's just going for it, seeing damage limitation. Damien Haskins is closing in on Christopher Pettersson. Christopher Pettersson won round, I think it was round 8 of the ISR AIC last season. So Christopher's had a really bad start to this season, all the way down in 16th for TVD Esport. So not a great start for the Swede. Damien Haskins, brand new British driver for Virtual Racers Club, is closing in on him, and Jonathan Carrera, Callum Spencer's teammate, is closing in on Nut Martinson as well. Not really being able to get past that Force Fizzy yet. But yeah, it's definitely interesting how this race has played out so far. A lot of big gainers and a lot of big losers. There's no one really that's had a quiet race so far, but a lot of good battles, and it's good to see. Dougie Afro Man, his call sign is closing in, and Anderson closing in the background as well. Callum Spencer, heavy on the brakes, but not quite close enough to launch up the inside. He's catching up to that as well. As Colin McAllister now sets the top fastest lap, so making it the top 5 closing in on each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we spoke, you kind of touched upon the fact that certain teams have been rising and falling over the past season. And Iron Brew Racing have always been in and amongst it, as we see James Underhill now actually just on the back of Gareth Lennon. But they're a team who have very much been in and amongst it, and I guess kind of similar to Red Bull. If there's an opportunity to take the win, then they will. So we've seen some rises from them. EQ have obviously got a good package this year as well. Virtual Racers Club are kind of getting there. But I'm kind of surprised about TBD Esports, Toby. I don't know about you. Obviously, Toby himself is doing a really good drive, and talking to yourself. Are we going to see more from the team throughout this season?
It's very hard to say. We never really know until we get there, so we'll have to monitor the progress. But it has been a rough start for Christopher Pettersson. Goes from winning his final race last season to being down in 16th and well out of the points this season. So very interesting. Meanwhile, Gareth Lennon has passed James Underhill here and is driving away from him. And now James Underhill's coming under pressure as Gareth Lennon sets the fastest lap of the race to boot. Iron Brew looking like a very strong package. Probably the most consistent out of all the teams, up in 5th and 6th at the moment. But James Underhill's struggling on these super soft tyres. Maybe it could be a difference in compound that the drivers are struggling with in different ways. But just big slide from James Underhill across that curb. So he's struggling just a little bit on those tyres, as I suspected. And I wonder if Chester Jackson's going to be able to slipstream past it. That's a bad exit for Jackson. So he's going to struggle to get past here, I think. But we know how powerful that slipstream is, so keep an eye on that. So here we go through the flat-out corner. Is Chester Jackson going to be remotely close enough? I don't think he will be, but we've seen people send it from further. No, not close enough. But just to touch upon, Zach Swader has won about, I think, 4 races, 4 or 5 in his AIC career, as Chester Jackson really desperate to get past James Underhill now. I think we might be about to see a pass into the final corner, so I'll just shut up for a moment and see if we do. We might do. It's a half-hearted move, and it's going to put him side by side for the start-finish straight, but that, of course, means he's going to have to do it. No, loses. It looks like James Underhill got the better exit at that time, but James Underhill holds on. But as we were quickly saying, Zach Swader has run about 4 or 5 races in the ISR AIC. Craig Evans has won as well, obviously. Toby Burn has as well. Kevin Jacobs has never even led an AIC race, so it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that pressure coming from the guys behind him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, no better way to put your stamp on the season than by leading near enough every lap of the first race, never mind winning it. I know it's too early to call it just now, but he's a driver that we very much are hoping to see a lot from. And Chester Jackson, we're on board with him now. He's a driver who's really impressed me today. You can see into this hairpin here. He's having a look. He's just not close enough. And the rookie, I guess, in many ways, James Underhill, is doing a good job to defend him as his teammate is still up in P3. And Toby, the circuit is a really unique circuit, I think, in terms of the fact that Sector 1 is so tight and twisty, and then it speeds up right the way through Sector 2 and Sector 3. And, you said yourself, we've seen the V8 supercars along here, as long as many other Australian series. How would you rate the Formula cars around here this time around?
I think they've done pretty well. We've seen a few calls out for real-life F1 to switch to Adelaide, but some people argue that that F1 has outgrown Adelaide. But I think we've proved them wrong a little bit today. I think throwing a bit of DRS down that back straight, and we could have some good racing. But we've seen how easy it is to go wrong through that flat-out right corner, courtesy of Callum Spencer. So that will be an interesting one to keep on out. I think they've handled reasonably well. We haven't seen any major crashes. It's mainly just been Callum Spencer who's obviously was at fault for his accident. So I think the circuit's done really well, and speaking of which, the final podium position, Craig Evans in P3, coming under a lot of pressure from Burn, and I think that's Colin McAllister closing in the background as well. So it looks like Craig's really struggling to manage these super soft tyres. Burn and McAllister are all over him.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming into the heavy braking zones and the tight and twisty stuff, Burn is so much better on the brakes even. And I don't know if that's a difference in car setup or just the actual driver talent. Presumably it's probably a combination of both. But you can see right there, he's closing the gap right up. And Craig is starting to struggle with those tyres as well. And this not only puts him in contention to lose the podium, but also to drop down to P5. So we said it was going to get tasty towards the end of the race, Toby, and it looks like it's heading that way just now.
It is going to be tricky to pass. We've only seen about 2 main overtaking opportunities so far this race, which is the hairpin coming up, or is the final corner. Just to point out, Valerio Campagnari, who was in 10th earlier, took a position off Martin, was battling pretty well. It was all the way down in 22nd. So I think Campagnari has pitted for a second time and has gone on to a 2-stop. Now, I don't think, with 3 laps to go, I don't think that's going to work out for him. But that's really, he sets the fastest lap of the race, so he's definitely pitted for brand new tyres. But a tale of 2 different stories. One NORL leading the race, the other in dead last, making the grid effectively an NORL sandwich.
Yeah, definitely. I think around here you're looking at about 30-second loss for the stop, so a bit of an interesting strategy. I'm not really sure what the contention was there, but like you said, he's had a bit of time out as we see Toby Burn getting ever so close. There's a move brewing. It's just going to be a question when. Look at that beautiful number 1 on the front of his car. He knows what he needs to do to win the race and the championship, and it's a big question now of whether TBD can hold on to try and get that podium or if Northern Lights can defend from them. We know Craig Evans is a very good defender. As you come down the straight once more, the gap is so small, it's just over half a second. It's going to close right down now. He's knocked down a Spencer and put it into the wall. He's coming into the hairpin. Here we go. Has a look, and he's just nice. He's biding his time, Toby. I mean, it's a smart move, but he's only got 2 laps left.
Does have to make a move soon, and it looks like it's forming a bit of a train behind him, but he did have a big slide coming onto that sector, so he really compromised his own exit, which means he had to do more work just to catch up to him, and he's just so much harsher on the brakes than Craig Evans. Craig definitely losing these tyres now, and it's only a matter of time before you'd think he's going to be under serious pressure, but he is setting just over 1 minute lap times. Incredible to think, by the way, that the official lap record here before today was 1 minute 17, and we're almost 18 seconds a lap faster than the current lap record. Incredible pace from these guys today. But Craig Evans running out of tyre grip, running out of time, but is he running out of talent? Considering his tyres, oh, there's another big slide, and he just hit the curb too hard, and there it is again, Josh. He just loses all his pace over the exit, and now he's under pressure from Colin McAllister.
Yeah, both Iron Brew cars seem to be sitting behind, because if Toby makes a mistake, then that's going to open the door wide open. But it's too early to call. I know we've only got 1 lap left, but I can still see Byrne making a move here, as we can see now that both Iron Brew guys are getting ever so closer. And all the time we've forgotten to talk about our race leader, Kevin Jacobs, who is on a course to win his first ever race. And Toby, he's had a really good drive. He's been out front and kind of untouchable. He
has been completely untouchable. He's 4 seconds, is that? 9 seconds? It's really hard to tell with his timing, actually. But he's massively ahead of Zach Swader. Zach Swader's charge for him has ended, but the charge for 4th place is on from Colin McAllister. Really starting to pressure Byrne now. Is this the time for him to shine? Now, will Byrne make the same mistake he has been doing coming up to the next few corners and just lighting up the tyres too much on the rear, getting a bit excited at the sight of a wounded Evans, I think, on those dead tyres. But now Gareth Lennon's closing in as well. Could we see the Iron Brew boys end up battling each other, quickly trying to establish... it's been a clear Gareth Lennon number 1 over the last few seasons. I think it's very hard to argue that Gareth taking the wins and the podiums. Colin's really been struggling. But Colin looks more comfortable in these cars. Now, I wonder if he'll be eager to put his mark down to Gareth Lennon and say, look, mate, not a chance. But Kevin Jacobs starts the final lap, and these guys have only got 1 more lap to sort this out.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is, it's early in the season. There's no team orders going to be in place apart from don't take each other out. So this is very much the chance. As Kevin Jacobs has won the race, as he comes across the line, our race winner, Kevin Jacobs. Unbelievable scenes, but there's this huge train still going on. Graham Cloud Dem's going to hold on to P3 ahead of Byrne in P4, and the 2 Iron Brew guys in 5 and 6. And Toby, what a race it's been.
Oh, my apologies. I thought there was 1 more lap. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased wanting that move to happen. But there you go. Kevin Jacobs, what a fairy tale. Been a back marker, been the subject of controversy with some of his moves over the last few seasons, but he's really turned it around. And it's awesome to see when a driver just works at their mistakes. And he's come back and he's shocked everybody. Cam Spencer comes back for 18th in the end. ART Aguirre, Douglas Anderson comes across the line. And wow, Valeria all the way down in last. And what a show up from Kevin Jacobs. He's really blown it up today. Really showing NORL. This is the reason you kept me. As we hear the lovely theme tune kick in again. And we could go through those race results. It is Kevin Jacobs that does win and takes the full 25 points. And then Zach Swader comes home in 2nd. Craig McLeod-Evans took 3rd. Hung on from Toby Burns' attack in the end. Colin McAllister and Gareth Lennon. Great day for Iron Brew, wasn't it? Chester Jackson in P7. James and Hill got back up to 8th. Josh Martin 9th. And Charles McBee rounds out the points for Virtual Racers Club, which I'm sure on their debut will be very happy to take a point away from today, Josh.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a great result for them in their first showing. It's how better to do it than put points on the board. I feel we were robbed of that battle at the end there, but credit to Craven Cloud Ends for holding on, and also to Burn for being able to keep the pressure on for so long. And if this is anything to go by, Toby, then we're going to have a great season ahead of us, I think.
We do have a long way to go. We travel to Sepang next time out, where there's going to be more overtaking opportunities. There's going to be DRS, so we'll see how that. By the way, shout out to Danny Diaz, 9 positions gained in the air, 20th to 11th. Meanwhile, his teammate did the opposite and fell down. So great job by Danny Diaz. Joshua Wood obviously never recovered from that damage. And that second pit stop from Valerio Campagnari sees him in last. Not sure why. If he just ran out of grip or got a puncture or something, not sure. Maybe a bit of damage, but really ruined his day today. He could have had points along with his teammate, who now leads the driver's standings, obviously 12 rounds in this season. Kevin Jacobs starts off in the best way possible, but yeah, did the opposite of what his teammate did today, didn't he? And be interested to see, Josh, who's leading the team standings.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we can't take away from the fairy tale what was Kevin Jacobs' day today. Whether the team standings are going to reflect that, as we got NLR are on the lead with NLR just behind them. Ironbrew Racing are in P3 joint with WSR Sim Racing, and then TBD Esports in P5. EQ take P6 with V-Racer in P7. BRC are in 8th with Gold Leaf JSR, ART Accurate and Force Fizzy all in P9, because I get my words twisted there. But still all to play for. We've got 11 rounds ahead of us, and Toby, I think we've seen some real battles already brewing between some of the drivers.
It's been absolutely phenomenal, and we couldn't have got the season started off in a better way. A new era for AIC, of course, drivers picking their own points. It's really cool to see everyone on completely unique setups, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the season. More overtaking opportunities do come in the favour of Sepang next time out. I don't think anybody can argue that the driver of the day is Kevin Jacobs, who will be absolutely grinning each year, and NORL will be happy that their investment has paid off. That has been round 1 of a new era. Thank you so much for joining, and until next time in Sepang, we'll see you then, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much, and goodbye.